Good morning. So I'm in my gardening mode today. We'll do some beekeeping later on. But I went and harvested some blueberries this morning from my blueberry bushes. I put most of them out last fall, and I did actually put one of the bushes out about two years ago, and it really produced this year pretty good. So I went ahead and I took some cuttings, some softwood cuttings from those blueberry bushes, and so guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna try to root some. So I saw this video, I think it was Mike Kincaid who did this video on rooting softwood cuttings from blueberries, and you can never get too many blueberries. I love blueberries. Strawberries bring about a feeling of spring. Blueberries bring out a feeling of summer. And one of my favorite flavors and one of my favorite cookies is lemon blueberry cookies. And I'll make some of those maybe with the blueberries that I harvested this morning. I didn't get enough to can or anything, so we'll just eat those and make some cookies. But stay with me and we'll be right back and we'll start the rooting ceremony. Show you what I did. I am like the most disorganized person in the world, and I found these ideas by looking at people putting tools and stuff. Let me just show you. So this has been probably the best 15 bucks I ever spent, and it was at Lowe's. It's a tool bucket organizer. Hey Riley. And it's really kind of helped me keep organized, because I was trying totes to put my gardening stuff in, and I had a roll around bag for my beekeeping stuff that I use almost every time, and it was like digging into the great abyss to find anything. And I have really found that this has kept me a little bit more organized. It was like $15, $16, and it is so worth it. And being organized is just priceless. All right, so let's see. The sun's kind of bright out here, so I even have my umbrella up, but the sun's like still coming from behind me. So I took some blueberry cuttings. The first thing I want to do is mix up some of my rooting or potting medium. I use potting soil and peat moss and perlite, and I'm going to throw some worm castings in there too. And that gives me a good medium to start these off with. Plus I use just a basic rooting hormone. And I'm sorry, my dog is like really wanting some attention this morning. But let's get started. So let me see. I already have some made up, but it does need kind of stirring up because and I don't have any. It's got my grandson's hair in it too. Every time my daughter comes over and cuts my grandson's hair, I tell her just to throw it in there. Hair is really high in nitrogen, so it makes a great additive to your potting mix, and it also allows for airiness. So it kind of does a similar thing to the soil that the perlite does. So let's see. Let me get my scoop. There we go. Let's throw some worm casting. Since I already have some of this made up, I'm just gonna kind of go from here because I've got enough perlite. Probably need to add some more peat moss. Now, I know using peat moss is controversial. And to be honest, I haven't researched it enough to know exactly why. I know it has something to do with the way that it is grown and harvested, but it seems to work for me. You can use cocoa coir. I've seen people use fir bark. There's some other things you can do. But anytime you get a chance, you know, throw some leaves, throw some hair. If you've got worm castings, throw some worm castings in there. And it makes for a pretty light and airy soil mix. This has got some leaves in there too that I just kind of threw in there to compost. Okay, so what I saw Mike Kincaid do is you take the softwood cuttings and you cut it on pruning shears. You want to make sure you use disinfected pruning shears, which I did. I cleaned these with alcohol before I cut my pruning shears. And he says to cut just below a leaf node. You don't want any hard wood cuttings. So this is starting to get lignified here. So I'm going to go just above that and cut it at an angle below that leaf node. And then I'm going to strip the leaves of all but just the top leaves. And then, let me get my pot. Oh, that'll do. It's an old strawberry pot. Actually, probably should use a smaller pot because I'm gonna make, when you're rooting things like blueberries, lavender, rosemary, roses, you want to form a little terrarium. So what I'm going to do, okay, I've got my soil in, and I want to cuttings ready. So this one has several cuttings, and I can actually probably use a couple of these. Some of them are kind of small, but that's okay. That's probably not going to take. And cut that one up to where I can see leaves. And I've got some berries that have dried up on the branch. And some of my bees are visiting me while I'm doing this. Now, I'm not sure of the cultivar of these. It's been a while. Like I said, the main one I got the cuttings off of is the one that I put in about 2 years ago. So, let's see here. I'm going to go to this node, and then I'm going to cut that one, and then that one, and cut that one off. And strip these. I'm going to lay them right there and get them ready. It's not ready. Some of these have little branching. I'm still going to leave, well, maybe not. I'll just pinch that off a little bit. This is an experiment. I'll do follow-up videos later to see how they come out and let you guys know. That may be too soft. I'm gonna cut that down some. And some of these that I'm cutting off, I may go ahead and try them just to see if they work. This was more of a sucker. I'm gonna see if I can get a few off of here. And some of them, if you leave just the sticks, don't worry, you know, with no leaves, don't worry about it. We'll just try it, see if it works. Let me cut that up to there. So your leaf node, the reason you cut just below the leaf node, that's where you're going to get most of your root growth from. So that's why you want to cut just below a leaf node. And I always cut at an angle. I don't know why. I was just taught to do that, so we'll do that. And I'm going to take some of these little ones and just see what happens. Remember, it's an experiment. I'm going to see if I can get 2 out of this. And we're going to see how many we can get out of this one. It's got a few branches. Buds. So we'll see what we can do with those. Don't know if this is Canada or not, but we'll try. These little branches may be too much. This one looks like we can do maybe something with. Some of these may be too soft, and that's fine. If, you know, I don't know how many I've got here, but if I can get a few to take and root, that'll be great. I don't want these too long or too tall because what I'm using, oops, let me get that a little closer. What I'm using is Coca-Cola bottles to give them, oh geez, these things need sharpening, or a new pair altogether, huh? I think it's time to get me a pair. I've got several pair of pruning shears, but I'm just gonna throw those in my bucket down here. Now, one of the reasons, too, that I add peat moss is remember that your blueberries are acid loving, and peat moss will give you a more acidic soil. So we're just gonna, I don't have a chopstick. Take the rooting hormone and a little bit of water. Oh, that's rainwater. And I just dampen mine up a little bit. I just let them stay in there until I get ready to stick them in the dirt. Alright, so dampen it. And then just kind of stick it down in the rooting hormone so you get it covered like so. Where's my camera? I can never figure this out. So here's what you do. You get it like this. You can kind of see the rooting hormone. And we're just going to stick it down in the soil. Shake off the excess. And we're just going to push it right down in the soil. Now, I don't water this in until I have them in there because I don't want to cause any damage to the branch. So, some water, rooting hormone, shake the excess off, and put it down in there. I'm going to put that one in the center. Not going to get 100% take probably, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And then we're going to water this in. I don't have anything catching the water, so it's going to go right through on my foot. Nope, didn't. Okay. And then I take my Coca-Cola bottle and I see what my tallest ones are. And I just kind of, I cut the label off for one thing. And then you just cut usually cut right about here. Be careful if you're using a blade. Keep your fingers out of the way. And once you get it started, you can use scissors that were well chewed up by my little doggy.
Please pardon the background noise. My neighbors were doing yard work.
Okay. Now, I'm going to leave the lid off of this because it allows some airflow and you don't want to cut off the oxygen. Plants breathe in carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. And we're going to tuck as many of these leaves in there as possible. And we're just going to put it right over there like that. And I'm going to water it in a little bit more. And then I'm going to place it in a shady spot. I have a little potting bench, not really a potting bench. It's actually a baker's rack that I put my rootings on. So I'm going to put it up there, just like that. And I'm going to check on those rootings today. So we're going to do another pot. I don't think I've got a smaller pot than this. But you know, if you don't have that, you can also go to the dollar store and buy something like this with a lid. And you can just poke some holes in the top. Just keep the airflow. I do some occasional seed starting in these pans, and they're really good for seed starting. You just have to be careful not to overwater unless you put holes in the bottom. So I'm not going to put holes in the bottom of this one. It'll help retain the moisture if I don't put holes in the bottom. As a matter of fact, I need to find a pan to put underneath that other one. And now some of my leaves in there, and I just dumped them in the potting soil. Okay, so we just do the same thing with these. We just dip them in the potting medium or rooting medium and stick them in there. And I want to see if this works because I've never rooted in one of these pans, so I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to try it. Now, I didn't put a ton of water on that because, like I said, it holds moisture in. Put a lid on it, and we have a little terrarium. I'm going to set it over here. We are dragging stuff all over the place. Okay, I'm going to check on some of my cuttings. You can see in these Coca-Cola bottles how well the moisture sits in there and just makes a little terrarium. And these are roses. I don't think I got a take on these. Doesn't look like anything there. It actually looks like, let's see. No, this one might. It's still green. Oh, I think we have some. Oh, look. Look, look, look. We got rose roots. Look, it worked. So I'm gonna put it back down in there. And I'm gonna try not to mess up those roots. That one. Now when you're rooting roses, be sure not to root the patented kind. Back over and then we'll water it in. So we had one take out of those. So that's good. I'll have a new rose. Now, when you're checking to see if they rooted, you don't have to pull the whole thing up out of the dirt. You just kind of tug on them a little bit and you can tell, yeah, those have taken. That one didn't, so I'm going to take it out. That one didn't. That one didn't. And that one didn't. But I have two of my rosemaries that did. I didn't have good luck with my rosemaries this last year. I repotted them. And I repotted 4 of them. They were getting really big and I only had one that lived. So I wanted to propagate it before, you know, I lost all of them. The one that's left is doing great. So we're gonna put these back up here. And we'll check the lavender. Now these cuttings have been in the soil for about, I want to say about a month. So that one's, oh wow. I think we got 100% take on those. That's good. Lavender is very fussy here because we have such high humidity. All right, so I got 5 takes. Got 5 takes on the lavender, 2 takes on the rosemaries, and 1 take on the rose. So yay! But again, I'm going to reiterate, when you are propagating roses, you need to make sure that you do not propagate patented roses. They are trademarked, and I do think it's kind of ridiculous, especially if you're using it for your own purpose and not selling them. But still, you need to be careful not to propagate those that are trademarked. But that's it for today. We're gonna see how my blueberry cuttings come out. We'll check them in about a month or 2 and we'll do a follow-up video on that. So you guys have a great day. Bye.